Hi, everyone. Welcome to another Vercel community session. If this is your first time joining us, hi, I'm Pauline Navas from the Vercel community team. You've probably seen me hanging around in the community platform or across our socials. So this is always a really fun chance for me and the team to connect with you all live. If you're tuning in from other platforms like X, and you want to ask questions and chat with us live for this session, remember to drop by community.vercel.com. And you can also head over to the events and you should be able to see this pinned session. If you're already here, which I can see in the chat, some of you already are, drop a message and let us know where you're tuning in from. Quick note, if you don't see the chat yet, sign in with your Vercel account at the top of the page and click going to unlock the event. Okay, I am so excited about today's session because we're actually kicking off a brand new series highlighting our Vercel marketplace partners. If you haven't explored it yet, the marketplace is where you can discover and integrate third-party services directly from your Vercel dashboard to streamline your workflow so you can build faster without all the context switching between tools. To start us all off, I'm so thrilled to welcome the team from Autonoma AI, and I will just add them here now to the stage. Hey guys, how are you doing?
Hey, Pauline,
Hello.
doing good. How are you?
Great. Honestly, guys, I'm so excited for everyone to watch this. So I will leave now, and the floor is yours.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. So thanks, everyone. I will share my screen. Just 1 second. Let me. Perfect. All right. Yeah. So to start with, well, I'm Eugene. I'm here with Tom. We're both co-founders here at Autonoma, and what we do is we do AI for quality assurance automation. We recently joined the Vercel marketplace, and we're super excited about that because now you can run our AI end-to-end tests on top of your Vercel deployments. And now we will show you a little bit on how you can do that, why that's important for you, and other things today. So the first thing I will do is like try to make an interesting introduction on what's an end-to-end test and why it is important. So if you're a developer listening to this, maybe you already know unit tests. So there are 3 different types of tests. You have unit tests, integration tests, and end-to-end tests. Unit tests are the most like common one because are the easiest one to do. Like they are made to actually test functions and they're very, very fast, but they are really not comprehensive enough. So normally you can't really test your application just with unit tests because you're not really testing your UI, you're not really testing the flow of a user. So at the end of the day, it's not enough. So sometimes users not only do unit tests, but actually also do integration tests, which is starting to test like how components interact between each other and seeing if there's any bugs in those relationships. But also as well, it's really not comprehensive enough just to do integration tests because you're not really validating the full user journeys and you're not catching like if there's any visual or UX bug because you're not really using your application as a user will do. So that's when end-to-end tests appear, which is actually using the application as a user does and doing the same flows they do and validating whether those flows actually work. So it's like using the browser or your mobile app in case there's a mobile app, doing the full journey and actually checking whether the expected result is what's appearing. But this brings some challenges, and it's not really so easy to actually do this. The first one is managing browsers. Like if you are deploying end-to-end tests on top of browsers, you need to deploy each browser that you will be using. Same for mobile. It's very hard to use different screen sizes, managing all of those infrastructure. State management is usually very complex as well. I will go back a little bit. And this is relevant to double click here, which is essentially like, how do you manage the state of your application to actually be ready to be tested for a specific flow? Cart data, for example, if you're an e-commerce, like you have to have products in place and you have to be able to add a product to the cart and then clean it. Like all of that management is usually non-trivial and you have to have endpoints in place to actually do that and someone managing that. Handling edge cases as well, like is, okay, what happens if you have to retry a test? Like you have the process in place. What happens if there's an error? The authorization cookies expired. If there's a rate limit, like all of those things are really difficult to handle and requires engineering expertise. Finally, flaky tests. Like one of the most common reasons as to why people don't really do end-to-end tests is because they're very flaky and they require constant maintenance. So maybe it's easy to build them. Like you can use tools with AI to build tests with Playwright, Selenium, Cypress. They're easy to build the first time, but then maintaining them is very, very hard. And essentially the reason why is because they're very coupled to the UI. So if you change the UI, like any minor changes, then you need to update your tests. And that's very expensive. But sometimes people really rather not invest time doing end-to-end tests just because of the maintenance burden. So that's why we built Autonoma. Essentially, we built Autonoma because if you're not testing your application, then you're exposing yourself to bugs. But as we said, it's very expensive to test it. So what should we do? There's like a clear trade-off there. With Autonoma, we are using AI for that purpose, and we're making testing very, very cheap, very, very easy. So you don't have to care about maintenance. You don't have to care about all of these technicalities. And you're not exposing yourself to bugs. And the good thing is that this is 100% integrated with Vercel. So now with just like a couple of clicks, you can integrate it in your Vercel deployment, and you can start using it from the same place where you're already building. So this is pretty exciting. So I will show you a live demo of how this works. I will change my screen just for a second. So stop sharing, and I will share something else, which is this thing over here. What I will show is like how to give your first steps here in the Vercel marketplace. So this is my personal account. So let's say we have this whole marketplace, and let's say you want to download, add an agent to your deployment, and I will do it specifically with Autonoma. Here they deployed this new section where they have all of the AI agents section. If you click here, you will see a lot of options here, and here there's Autonoma, AI-based web platform to create and run end-to-end tests for web and mobile apps. If you click on it, then you will see information about our integration. And essentially, you just have to follow the onboarding here. Like it's pretty straightforward. Click install. Start here. You have like different plans: Hobby, Pro, and Enterprise. We'll start with the Hobby that already it's free, and you already are enabled to actually start building some tests and executing them. You have to add a name to the check. The check is something that will be essentially running each time you make a deployment. It will check that this thing is actually working, and this can be blocking. This could block your deployment if it's not working. You can click create, and then essentially you will move forward. Once this is done, you can start operating and building tests on top of Autonoma. And I will show you another screen now. Just one second, I will switch. So I will show you how this actually works with an organization that already has Autonoma in place, which is this one over here. So here I'm coming. Perfect. So let's see how this works, right? So we already installed Autonoma in your Vercel deployment. You will be redirected to something like this. And I will show you how to actually build a test. The cool thing is that you don't have to be technical. So you could not be technical, and you will be able to actually build an end-to-end test. The way this works is like, since this is already integrated here, you will have all in your applications, you will have your Vercel deployments. So in order to generate a new test, you can essentially click here, create new test, or click on the application, and you will have the option to create new test. I will click on create new test here in the application, and this will launch a Chromium server, essentially, where you will be seeing your web application, and you can generate a test on top of this application. This app that you're seeing is essentially this app over here, which is a dummy app, like a mock-up that simulates a bank, where you can operate, like create a new card, you can send money, among other things. So let's build some tests for this application. Let's see how this works. So I will go back to Autonoma. Here I'm in the test creation phase. So if I want to build a test, the approach we take is we record your interactions. So you have to do it manually once. We will record your interactions, and we'll translate that into an end-to-end test. So let's say I want to build a test to create a new card. I can just click on create a new card. Here, select any name, like marketing, monthly spend limit. I can put whatever value. And as you will see here on the right side of the screen, all of my actions are being like understood by an AI and like written down in natural language. And there's a purpose as to why we're doing this that I will now explain. But the last thing is, like, if you want to make validations, like every test usually has navigation, which is clicking, input text, and scrolling, and then validations. A validation, you have just to prompt it here. So you can say validate that there are, for example, 4 active virtual cards. You just send it like this, and this will prompt an AI model. And the AI model will answer whether this is true or false. So it's a visual assert. The cool thing about this is that essentially you can make it as precise or as general as you like. Like you could validate that there's a specific value on the screen, or you could validate that there's, I don't know, like a color, like is it blue or is it like specifically as a specific blue? So here you have the answer. The virtual cards section explicitly states for active virtual cards. So that's the reasoning we get. And that's how you build a test. So you have just to click on the screen, like navigate and make the flow, and then write down the validations that you want to do. Once you're done, you just click on finish, click on run. This will rerun the test once again, just to check that this test is ready to be automated. And if everything is working fine, then you just save it, and it will be automatically added into your like a test management system that we hold. And each time you make a deployment, this specific test will run. So that's all it takes from your end. So we will put a name here, demo test for generating a new card. I will save it inside this Autonoma bank folder. I click save test. I can navigate here to the test, and this is the test profile that I just built. So zero lines of code written down. I already built a test. And now we will follow up on why we have this natural language prompt on each step. And the reason why we do that is because these tests don't require maintenance. As we previously said, end-to-end tests normally requires a lot of maintenance on each change in the UI because they are coupled to a specific selector. So if you change a button from place A to place B, then you need to update the test as well. And that's very heavy. In this case, since we're capturing the intention of each step, this don't require maintenance. So if you change, for example, here it says click the create card button. If you change that button and now it has a different copy or it's in a different place, the AI will have the capacity to generalize and find again that button without needing a user to come and say, okay, now this is the button that I want to interact with. So this requires very, very low touch from people once you already build a test, which is a positive thing. So once you build a test, then you can run it here, run test. You could, and just it will trigger the test. You could schedule the test. So let's say I want to run this periodically every day or every hour, or you could just leave it there. And each time you make a deployment, the test will be triggered. And I will show you how essentially that works. So I will go back to Vercel now. This is my Vercel account. I will find this bank demo web app project, which is essentially hosted in GitHub. Here is the project. And let's say I want to make a new commit. I will just make a dummy commit, like changing the README to release a new deployment. And I will show you how this will be triggered automatically. So I would say live demo for Vercel users. Actually, this web app was built with V0, so it's pretty cool because we built the web app with V0. We are deploying it on Vercel, and we are testing it with Autonoma. Like it's everything done automatically, and that's pretty awesome. So, well, this should trigger a Vercel deployment. As you see here, it just done. And if we come back to Vercel, and if we go to deployments, we should have it here. Perfect, building. This is a new deployment. And once we click here, if you come to the deployment checks section, you will see all of your deployments. In this case, we have Autonoma. And this means that Autonoma is actually running as part of your deployment process and running all of the tests that you have created in Autonoma. So if you want to see how this works, you can just click here, and this will like open a link and take you to Autonoma's platform. And Autonoma platform here, you will see that we have some tests being executed right now. Everything done automatically. So if you click here and see what's happening, essentially what you will see is you will have all of the tests running. These are 3 tests that I previously built, and this is the one we just built. Demo test for generating a new card is the one we just built like 2 minutes ago. So I will show you what these tests are about. Here we have a folder, and we have the add money test, create a new card, demo test, which is the one we just built, and send money from checking account. Here you can come and see a test, and essentially one of them is adding money to the account, another one is creating a new card, another one is sending money from checking account, which is a separate flow, and the one we just built. So this is running. You will see this will be running in parallel. Here, the first one just ran, add money. So you can come and see, okay, how's the reporting of a test? And the way we approach this is you will have a screenshot of each step just to know the state, the natural language prompt that was built from the step. Then if there's an assert, you will have the metadata. So here it says validate money has been added, because you can see that because of the toast here on the right side of the screen. And here you have the reasoning. The green notification box in the bottom right corner explicitly states money added successfully and mentions 15K, etc. So this is a test report. Here in theater mode, you can see a video as well, so you can understand what actually just happened. So the cool thing about this is that the tests are built with AI, but then they are deterministic. So if you have like few tests, okay, if they were 100% built with AI, you could review that they are okay. But if you have 1,000 tests, and if they are 100% built with AI, then how can you trust they're actually testing what you want to test? That's impossible. So since our tests are deterministic because we translate it into playwright actions and like specific steps, then you can always have certainty that you're actually testing what you initially designed. So you have confidence that when you deploy, you're fully testing your application, and you're not, because something that happens when you're working with AI coding agents is that you make a change on a place A, and maybe that place A works, but a place C somewhere else is breaking, and you don't know it unless you have tests for your whole application. With Autonoma, you can have tests for a whole application very easily, and I actually have that confidence when deploying. So, okay, yeah, here we have all of our tests that has run successfully. So we are okay to deploy to production. And if we go back to Vercel and we hit refresh, perfect. This will be marked as positive pretty soon, and we will be deploying our changes into prod. Last thing I want to show you is this self-healing feature. As you will see here, I want to show you something pretty cool, that is what happens if we change the UI, right? So if you come here to the add money test, something we can see is like if you have a run from like one of the latest run, if you see here on the screen, this button says add funds. And this is the button actually that the test clicks, and then it adds funds, and it clicks here on add funds again, and it processes. But if we go back to another execution of this add money test, like a previous one, actually the button said add money, and it was on a separate color and a separate shape. And here it said add money. And it was able, the AI was able to generalize and click and interact with the button and make the flow without requiring a human to come and update the test. That's what we mean by self-healing. You can change your UI, and if the same flow is available, the AI test we have the capacity to adapt and translate into a new deterministic test without having a human interfering. So going back to the deck, I want to just summarize the benefits, what we just saw. The first thing is this is built for technical and non-technical users. So anyone can actually write this test in plain English, interact with our platform. This is very generous for every user. The second thing that we are very proud of is essentially it requires the self-healing. It requires zero maintenance. So it automatically adapts to UI changes, this is very important. So you don't have to be on top of the test every time. You can think about features, not about tests, which is very relevant for us. Third thing is self-managed, which is this is super relevant because it's a hidden cost when someone starts doing tests. Maybe you don't think about this, but suddenly if you want to execute a lot of tests in parallel, well, you need to actually manage that infrastructure, and that's very expensive, and it requires very deep engineering expertise. This is provided out of the box for you. You don't have to think about scaling. You don't have to think about nothing like that. Fourth thing, if you are an enterprise out there, this is already ready for you. We provide SSO. We can integrate with your identity provider to provide roles and role-based access permission. We can provide audit logs. We can issue SLAs. We have a clean dashboard where you can manage and govern all your test infrastructure without you thinking about it. So that's something pretty relevant. And finally, the last thing I want to share is getting started tips. If you want to start doing this and you don't know how to do it, this is what we suggest. First, start with your main 5 to 10 core flows. Which are the main flows of your application that you want to test? We just saw on a banking web app, generating a new card, adding money, the main flows. Then you can think about edge cases. But first, let's do the happy paths. Second thing is having test credentials ready. Having a user and a password for testing is ideal, that you can manage the state of that user and you can use it just for testing purposes. Third thing is for that user, ideally disable CAPTCHA and two-factor authentication, because otherwise that might generate some problems with the tests and generate some flakiness. And the fourth thing is something we always suggest is setting up endpoints or the possibility to set up your testing environment and seed it with data. So you can always manage the state of your test user and say, okay, I want to start with a clean environment that doesn't have money in the account or that already has 100K of balance in the account. You should have the capacity to do that. That will provide a lot of velocity when shipping tests. So that's when it comes to Autonoma today. And now I will share the screen to Tom, because something we are thinking about is, why isn't there a more agentic way of doing this? Do I have to essentially go step by step on every flow of my test? What happens if my tests are very long? What happens if I have a lot of permutations? So that's why we are building Quora AI. And now I'll take it to you, Tom, to show some spoilers of what's coming.
Thank you, thank you. Yeah, awesome demo, by the way. Yeah, well, let me share my screen. Yeah, I think that just talking about the motivation about this. Yeah, perfect. Perfect. Well, about the motivation of this, I think we are all probably using Cloud Code a bunch right now. And we started thinking, okay, now that we are shipping so fast with Cloud Code, how can we validate that the code that we are shipping is really safe and it's not uh, impacting, like, bugs on other places of an application are not impacting the velocity that we can achieve with Cloud Code. And this is the reasoning behind this. Basically, the idea is that you can prompt it directly, but the idea is that this would go through the changes on your code base, the diffs, and create a bunch of tests in parallel. So you don't have to manually go it like step by step. It's a much more agentic way of building. And I think that we are probably one of the only solutions that are providing a way to actually ship with Cloud Code in an enterprise environment, in a big code base, uh, with a guarantee that all of the rest of the application is really working. And we're really excited about that. So let me do a quick demo of this. Basically, I'm using the same. I'm going to do a similar test that the one that Ehe just showed. So I'm going to create a card, but everything is going to happen agentically. So I'm going to create a credit card called, I don't know, dinner card with a limit of $1,500. And after creating, I'll validate that there are 4 cards on the landing and not 3, basically because we just created one. So you can just prompt something really simple like that. And we'll do the same on the background, basically. So we'll spawn a browser, we'll spawn the agent, and as you see, it's really fast. It's like, you can think about it as a serverless environment. You can just prompt it, and I'll just go do its thing. So it's, yeah, you can see that, right? So it's basically saying, okay, it's typing dinner card, then $1,500. Here you can see the steps that it's taking. It'll create the card. And yeah, basically you can see the 4 active cards. So it actually performed what it needed to do. Now it's validating that that's true. And yeah, the validation was successful, and that the test is just done. So it's a much faster way of creating a test. And if you can imagine this in parallel, like having, I don't know, some companies have tests written down. Maybe you have like an Excel sheet of 100 different tests, or maybe you have a code base, a huge code base where we can infer tests from them. You can imagine that this will be much faster than going manually and building the tests. So it will get you out of the 0 test really fast, and we're really excited about that. Giving the mic back to you, Eugenio.
Thanks, Tom. Yeah, just wrapping up what Tom said, this is what's coming next. It's a more agentic experience. We'll read your code base, suggest end-to-end test cases, watch your diffs, and update and create test cases as you deploy. So right now the bottleneck is queue when deploying tests, as Tom said. That's not a bottleneck anymore. And something very cool, that's why we are like very, very good position to build this, is because we spent the last 1 or 2 years building this engine that I initially showed that make tests very robust, like non-flaky. We provide infra, and now we're building a layer on top of that. And we will be doing this pretty soon with Vercel. So stay tuned if you want to test it, because it's coming in next weeks. Thanks, Pauline. I don't know if you want to take it from here.
Amazing, guys. That was incredible. We actually have a lot of chatter in the chat. So I'm going to go through some of the questions that we received. So generally, people have been saying, thank you so much for building this. This seems like a very useful integration for Vercel projects. And yeah, doing E2E tests manually is super annoying. So this is a great solution. A question that we got is, can Autonoma tests run on logged in interfaces? If not, is it in the roadmap?
Yes, and within Vercel, we are already that's already integrated. You will be already authenticated automatically. There's two options. Like within Vercel, we already automatically input a bypass header to be already authenticated when building a test, and that's handled by the integration itself. If you want to use another credentials, then you can just log in as part of the test. And that could even be a component of something we didn't show, which is cool, is components, which is like modules that you can reutilize across tests. One component could be the login component that you just do it once, and then you import it when designing a new test. And let's say it's like Lego blocks. Like I import the login component, so I already start logged in into my application, and then I build a test after the login has successfully been done.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Awesome. If you have any more questions about that, definitely drop it in the chat. A question that has come in is, let's say I have an application built on some framework. Will Autonoma understand what plugins / configurations / etc. it needs to use to mock the, for this example, Tori API?
I don't know, Tom, if you want to take that.
Sorry, could you repeat the API? Could you repeat the question? Sorry.
So let's say I have an application built on some framework, for example, Tori. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. Will Autonoma understand what plugins / configs it needs to mock the API?
So usually we are of the philosophy that you shouldn't be mocking much of the stuff you're testing. We have had some problems with, for example, we have a couple of clients that are finance apps, and for those, some parts are hard to have in a testing environment. So they actually have they need to mock that. But we usually are against mocking, because the point of an end-to-end test is actually to simulate a user environment and simulate what users are doing. So if you mock stuff, you are maybe hiding problems that could be on the API side, even if it's a third party. So we try to not recommend people to mock. But if you really need to, you'd have to do that on the code side. We are mostly focused on the testing side. Like we just superficially, so you don't have to integrate anything with us. You can just go to our application, put your application there, and you can just start testing without any integration. That's one of the good things. Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. Nice. Yeah, thank you. Again, if you have any follow-up questions to that, drop them in the chat. So just generally some more comments. Someone said environment reset and cleanup, it's a nightmare. If you guys can also help with that, maybe nowadays it's just a curated set of skills for an AI agent to set up whatever Autonoma needs and do it in a frictionless way.
Yeah.
Did you have any comments to that?
I think that's really interesting. We were talking about that exactly the other day. I don't know if, shout out to BossHog. I don't know if you've been using it lately, but they actually have when you want to configure, especially with Vercel, I think when you want to configure a new project, they have an agent that adds a ton of stuff, agentically, and everything that you need, including the skill itself. And we thought about that. We thought about people are struggling to build tests not only on the end-to-end side, but also, as Elke was mentioning, with the cleanup and environments and all that, and maybe building a skill that has the best practices could be really interesting. I think that could be really interesting. We're really thinking about that.
Love that. Nice. Any other comments you wanted to add to that one? You didn't know? Okay, amazing.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
Okay, cool. If anyone else has any more questions, now is your time to ask the team. I had a question, actually. This is the first time we're doing we're creating the series for the Vercel Marketplace Integration Partners. I was curious, what kind of customer signals convinced you that Vercel should be a key partner? And how are you measuring the success of this partnership? And would you recommend it to other folks who may be listening in right now, wondering if they should also partner with us?
Yeah, some comments over there, a bunch of things. The first thing is we are fans of Vercel. We believe you are in the spear edge of technology, and your users are as well. And since we are building in AI, which is like the future of technology, users are early adopters. So people are very open to test products, although sometimes. So that's why we are going to deploy this new agentic experience, which is in alpha, and it's not done yet. But we believe people like to experiment with technology. So it's uniquely positioned to deploy AI solutions, agentic solutions, because that's what Vercel users like to test and play around with. Also, something that is quite unique for us is the preview environments. So that's already been handled by Vercel, and that's very useful, because otherwise you will be, if you don't have that, then you need to deploy like a staging environment or a preview environment by yourself to be able to actually run tests on. With Vercel, that's already handled, so it's very easy and very native for users. And then, yeah, we are tracking. We actually deploy. We are tracking every installation. We are recording how users use our platform. We are getting feedback. We are getting a lot of information from users. So we actually have a lot of installations. I think we are the one that has the most from the agents. So we are pretty excited about that. We passed already the 3,000 installations. So that's a
Wow,
lot.
congrats.
And yeah, we are super excited about it. So it has been very positive for us. And also, yeah, it has been super positive for us, and the team has been very helpful. Everyone from the community, from the partnership, from account executive, from engineering, like everyone from Vercel has been very helpful, helping us like get engaged with the community, make the integration as easy as possible. So I truly recommend it to anyone thinking about it.
Amazing. Well, you heard it from this team, so definitely reach out. A question that everyone is asking in the chat is, what is up with the frog? I also, that was one of my first questions. I was like, wait, why is it a frog? It's so important.
There's a reason why.
Yes, please explain. We need to know the story.
Tom, you want to explain it?
Yeah, well, I think that like there's a couple of reasons. First, the frog eats the bugs. That's the like the fun part. But also, like, we wanted to have like an icon, as like to build a sense of community around it. We really like. We looked at to, for example, Postco as well. Mentioning them again. They really do like good marketing around their mascot, and it's really fun. And we really like that idea for our company. And yeah, I think that's like the gist. I don't know if you want to add anything, but yeah, we thought that it was really fun, and yeah.
I mean, you started a good conversation. Everyone wanted to know. Yeah, comments. It's quite clear once you see it, for sure.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yes, it's absolutely. And we have stickers of the frog. So if anyone is in SF and wants to get some stickers, this is an Argentinian, bro.
I love it. That's so cool. I'm gonna have to get one of those. I need that on my laptop ASAP.
Absolutely.
Amazing. Amazing. So we're actually getting close to time here. So if anyone has any more last minute questions, definitely drop them in the chat. Otherwise, a question I would love to just ask as a final call to action is, what's one workflow or testing pattern you'd love the Vercel community members to try today with Autonoma after the session?
Yeah, I would love for them to test like the most happy and critical flow of their applications, whatever that is. If it's an e-commerce, adding a product to cart and checking the checkout experience. If it's a bank, creating a new card, depositing money, whatever is the most critical flow, end-to-end exhaustive test with like asserts on every step, validate X, validate Y, and then just add it to their deployment and see how it goes. Let it run for 10 times, see and test our like robust algorithm, and then if you're confident, expand it. And always you can call us in case you have any obstacles. We're here to help.
Yeah. Also, like just as an example, we ourselves we have a couple of tests. We don't have that many tests, but we have a couple of tests that we call uptime. We have like a little folder where we go to this what we call the creation interface and just like see that everything's working. And we have that scheduled like I think that every 15 or 20 minutes it runs. So it's like a monitoring tool for us. It's a really simple thing that you can do, and you have like a really robust way of testing and monitoring that your app is working as expected. And the good thing is that you don't only need to test with like on a staging environment. You can test in production as well. And we've seen many customers do that with a lot of success. So I think that's really interesting as well.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much, guys. Like, we will definitely, if you're in the community and you want to try this out, feel free to create a post and share it. We can share it with the team as well to see your results. And obviously, this team loves to ship and get so much feedback and work with you guys. So definitely drop them in the community. Well, thank you both. Where can people find you if they want to learn more?
Good question. Here I'm sharing my screen. Just 1 second. Here you have our emails, Eugenio@autonoma.app and Tom@autonoma.app, our Twitter account, X accounts, and this is the landing page. So reach out, email X, whatever works for you. We are here to help you and get it done. And if you have product feedback as well, please send it away.
Incredible. Thank you so much, guys, again. And I'm sure we'll have you back here once you ship more improvements. So thank you so much, guys.
Thanks, Pauline.
Awesome. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thanks. How incredible was that? Again, a huge thank you to Autonoma AI for that incredible deep dive. And thanks to all of you for all the amazing questions in the chat. Before we head out, a couple of quick notes. So if you are building a tool that you think will help developers move faster and you want to reach the Vercel community, we'd love to have you on the Vercel marketplace. So reach out to us and let us know. We'd love to get you integrated. And for the community, this is just the beginning of our partner series. So make sure you head over to community.vercel.com/events to see what's coming up next in terms of our partner series, but also all the other wonderful sessions that we're running. Amazing. Thank you all so much. And we will see you here next week.